Well, welcome to Anatomy and Physiology. It's essentially, we're going to go through what you need to do in order to be successful in this class, and it's a lot of stuff. So that's why, I like to have these introductory sessions. The first thing is the syllabus. The syllabus is super long, but it's meant to help you guide you through this course. Excuse me. So make sure to read, print out, highlight the important informations, particularly the policy and due dates. Okay, because there's a lot of things that happen in this class that you have to do. So a lot of students struggle in this class primarily because of two things. One is like learning a different language, because even though, like for example, sternocleidomastoids, there's some things that you may or may not have heard of before. So it's like learning a different language. That's why it's so difficult. Secondly, the reason why it's so difficult is because it's not only learning the lecture, but it's also learning the lab. So even though this is registered as a 4-credit class, it's actually technically kind of a 6-credit class, right? Because it's the lecture and the lab. So that's why when you're calculating how much time you need to set aside to study for this class, you have to be kind of aware that it's not just the lecture, but it's also the lab, okay? And again, this is a very informal session, so if you have questions anytime, just go ahead and chime in, okay? All right. So this course is divided into 4 main units. The first unit is introductory to anatomy, physiology, chemistry, cells, tissue, and the integumentary system, otherwise skin. And after the first unit, you'll have an exam. The second unit covers skeletal, joints, muscle, and nervous. And then after that, you'll have an exam. It seems like very little, right? Because it's only 1, 2, 3, 4 units, where the other one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it's pretty difficult. If I were to say anything, students find the second one and the third one, and of course the fourth one, because it's comprehensive, to be the most difficult. Okay, because don't let it fool you because it's only 4 chapters or it's only 3 chapters that it must be easier. It's just more detailed. Okay, so do prepare well in terms of like setting aside enough time to study for the exam and study for the course. One thing I will say though is I highly recommend you putting in your best right here, because this is the easiest one. Unit 1 is the easiest, and if you set yourself up so that you have a high score here, it will help balance out the other ones. Okay, so start strong. So do your best in this first unit because it's introductory. It's more, it's a little bit easier than the others. So start strong so that you have a really high score going into the others. And then unit 3 is going to cover the cardiovascular system, which includes blood, heart, and blood vessels, and then the respiratory system, and then the digestive system. Then you have unit 4, which is on the urinary, endocrine, and reproductive. But you will have an exam on unit 4 plus comprehension. So you have a kind of a 2-part final exam. The first part of the final exam covers the stuff that you cover in unit 4, and then the other half covers everything from unit 1 through 3. Okay. Questions so far? Okay. Some resources that are available to you that I highly recommend would be the Canvas with the navigational sites. Okay. Then the supplemental course videos. I teach this in person, and during COVID we had to go online, so I recorded all of those sessions where it was in person but recorded. So I'll share those videos with you, so it gives you a sense of like being in class. So I'll share the supplemental course videos with you. And again, it's in addition to the videos that you are required to watch on Canvas, but they're very helpful because it gives you the feeling of being in class. Then I will always send out weekly worksheets for you to do. Sometimes they're optional, like this week, it's optional. Okay, so the worksheet this week is optional, but there are other weeks where the worksheets are your assignment that you need to submit. Okay, how do you know when is what? I'll show you on Canvas. Okay. And then there are lots of external sites that students recommend, such as Khan's Academy and a list of others. And if you find anything that you really liked and think would be helpful for the other students, share it with me and I'll share it with the class. Okay, so those are the resources, kind of additional resources you have beyond what's on Canvas. So let's go through what you need to do for this course. So the first set of things. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Bridget. I had emailed you about the video yesterday, because it does say I'm one of those who's just learning everything from the beginning, and I had asked you in the instructions, it says below the instructions on how to do the video, but I never had the instructions, so I don't know how to create the video. And I need to know. Yeah, because I need to know, because you have other videos for us to create later on.
Yeah. So the guidelines are for, so this introductory video is not graded, and it doesn't go through the same criteria. So the document that was attached to the bottom is more for the other videos that you are graded on. So it goes through like the grading rubric. So what you're asking is how to make the video to begin with.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
because I had called IT for help, and they said to talk to my instructor.
Okay. Yep. So what I can do is I can find some tutorial videos on how to make videos for you to watch, and then that should walk you through kind of, there are a lot of different ways in which you can make videos. One is you can take, if you have a smartphone, a cell phone, you can record yourself with your cell phone. That's one. Two, you can also record yourself on Canvas. So on Canvas, there's an option to record yourself. Those are the two most common ways that students do it. If you have like a professional camera, you can do it with that. But essentially, I think the basic one is to either use your laptop to record yourself or your cell phone. Okay? So we can talk afterwards, okay?
Okay, appreciate you.
Yep. So the first set of graded materials that you have to do is the assignments. So the assignments include the critical skills assignments as well as the video assignments. Now, the critical skills assignment pretty much is kind of the things that we assume students to come into with, but and I don't think that that's correct. We usually call it like the hidden curriculum, where, you know, students who know how to be students do really well in the class. But so these critical skills assignments right here kind of teach students how to be students. For example, they include things like time management, how to make cognitive maps, how to prepare for exams. So all these characteristics, students may or may not have them already, but for sure, when you're studying a science class, there are a particular set of time management, cognitive map, and preparing for exam strategies that you'll want to know. So we'll go through that. It's embedded in the coursework for this course, okay? Then you will also have video assignments where you create videos to show the content that you understand. It's really good because students overall love doing these, because it allows them to really decide what they know from what they don't know, as well as help other students. Because sometimes, you know, when you hear things from me, it doesn't click as much as when you hear it from your colleagues, your peers. So that's why we have the video assignments, okay? Now the video assignments, I don't provide feedback, but your peers provide feedback. So this one is more for your comfort, you know, you're just gonna work with each other on this. So peer feedback is very important for the video assignments. I do grade them, but I grade them in terms of like, did you do this? Did you do this? And not so much as like the content. Your peers will go, oh, you know, you said this, but I don't think that that's, you know, right. And a lot of students struggle with providing constructive criticism. And that's because we have a society where, you know, failure is looked down upon, or mistakes are looked down upon. But in this class, it's just a new, you know, a lot of information, and it's okay to make mistakes. And that's why we have these video assignments, so that you can catch each other's mistake and help them improve. Excuse me. So if you view the video assignments as it's an area to make mistakes, then you're more likely to give constructive feedback on each other's videos, okay? All right, then the lowest score for these 11 assignments will be dropped. So altogether, the assignments make up 10% of your grade. Questions?
No questions, Professor Blue, but I just wanted to say that your audio is going in and out from time to time. I'm not sure if it's just on my end and just connection, but I just wanted to give you a heads up just in case.
Thank
I noticed
you.
it as well.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me see. My video. That's why my video's off, but I guess it's still.
Yeah, I thought it was my phone.
Okay, okay, all right. So when that does happen, let me know, and then I'll repeat what I just said. Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
So for these assignments, if there's a 1 point deduction for each day that they're late. Okay, so make sure you do try to get them in on time. Then in terms of how to grade your video, how your videos are graded, okay, you want to always begin your video with your name, date, and topic that you're presenting on. The content and what content you're supposed to be presenting will be listed on Canvas under that assignment, okay? So that's worth 4 points. You have to have an audio description, that's worth 2 points. And what the audio description means is that you have to narrate it. You have to talk about what you're presenting, okay? So it can't be just like music in the background. You actually have to describe it. Because the point of the video assignment is for you to kind of process the content for that topic, okay? You also have to have a visual, okay? Now the visual has to be created by you. It can't be from a picture from the book. It can't be a picture from the text online anywhere. It has to be originally created by you, and that's worth 2 points. And if out of any of these, this is the one that students lose most points on, is because sometimes they'll grab a picture from the internet or their textbook. Okay, so whatever you do, it has to be created by you. Okay, then you have to watch and provide feedback on 2 of your peer videos, and that's worth 2 points. Okay, now we're asking that you provide constructive feedback, constructive criticism, and it's got to be on the content. So for example, oh, you know, I think you missed what you did the video on the cell organelles, and I think you forgot to mention the mitochondria, or I think you confused the between the mitochondria and the lysosomes. So things like that. Questions on how the videos are graded?
I think we can ask questions as we create the videos if we have questions, or we can ask our peers, right?
Yep. Yep. Okay. So then you have the weekly assignments, which include your quizzes. Now the quizzes are available all week long. They're open from Monday to Sunday. They are due by Sunday, 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. Because they are opened all week long, there is no exceptions to the policy in terms of no late quizzes, no retakes, and no makeups. Okay. The nice thing about this, though, is that starting from last term, I did change it so that you have 2 attempts. You're allowed to take the quizzes twice. Okay, and I will take the highest scoring one. All right, so this is true for your lecture and your lab quizzes. You are able to take them twice. And you're actually, is that true? Let me double check, but for sure your lecture, I need to double check if that's true for your lab as well. I'm pretty sure it is. Okay. There shouldn't be any password required for you to take any of these quizzes, but if it does require you to take a password, the password is anatomy. Okay, so that's something that we put in a long time ago, but for some reason it's just sometimes stuck for some students. Okay, So there is no password required for the quizzes, but if it does ask you to do so, then it's anatomy. Now, for the quizzes, you do need to use Respondus Lockdown Browser. Okay. Webcam is optional, but I recommend it, and the reason for that is because your exams require the webcams. So it might just get you used to using the webcams. Your lecture quizzes are always going to be on the current week's lecture modules, and it's always going to be 10 questions that are multiple choice. Your lab quizzes are going to be on the week's lab module or modules, depending on whether you do one or more. And it's 10 questions. And with this, you have to type in, and it's always on identification. Okay. Now for this, spelling does count. So when you're practicing your lab materials, make sure that you not only are able to identify the structures, but also spelling. Okay, so students do have 2 attempts on both the lecture and the lab. Otherwise, there are no makeups or retakes. We do have a practice quiz that is opened all the time, and that's the one that you had to take today. And that's just to make sure that your computer is set up for Respondus. So this one is available all the time. Okay, so let's say that you are taking the quiz on your laptop and also you switch to a different computer. You may just want to take the practice quiz on that new computer just to make sure that it is able to use Respondus Lockdown and the webcam is working before you take your actual quiz or exams. So that practice quiz is just to kind of make sure that whatever computer you're using is working. Then the quizzes are meant to be a learning tool. You want to make sure that you always go back and see what questions you got wrong and what questions you got right. If you got it wrong, kind of write down the topic, and then that's the topic that you need to kind of review again. Okay, so the quizzes after the grades have been released, the correct answers will be available for 48 hours. And then you will still be able to access your quizzes at all time. It's just that it won't show you the correct answers after the 48 hours it's been released. Okay, questions?
Is the practice quiz graded?
Nope.
Okay.
Yep, the practice quiz is never graded. It's on the syllabus essentially, but it's just to make sure that your systems, your computer systems, are able to use Respondus Lockdown and webcam.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions, thank you. Okay, so the breakdown of your grades. Your assignments you have 11, 1 will be dropped, so that makes up 100 points at 10% of your total grade. Your lecture quizzes, you have 11 of them, 1 will be dropped, so they make up 10% of your grade. Your exam 1, 2, and 3 are 10% of your grade. Your final is broken down in 2 parts, the exam 4, which is 10% of your grade, and the comprehensive portion, which is 10% of your grade, so it makes it a total of 20%. Okay. For your lab quizzes, you have 11 of them. The lowest one will be dropped, so that gives you 5, so it's 100 points, and they weigh less, so they're only worth 5% of your final grade. Your exam 1, 2, and 3 are worth 5% of your grades as well. And then your final exam, which is on the last unit of materials, and then on units 1 through 3, that makes up 10% of your grade. So it comes to a total of 100. So of these 2, which one would you focus on strategically as a student? Which one's worth more points, the lecture or the lab?
Lecture.
Yep. Do both. But if you're struggling for time, your biggest bang for your buck is in the lecture materials. Okay. All right. Questions? Okay. So when you get into Canvas, how many of you have gotten to Canvas already?
I did
been
yesterday.
exploring, yes.
Excellent. Absolutely wonderful. Okay. So Canvas is really cool. Good. If you haven't, you want to make sure you do it by today, because you kind of have to anyways, because your first quiz, your practice quiz is due today. All right. So on Canvas, you can actually set the notifications, and I highly recommend you doing this. Set the notifications so that any changes I make here, or if I'm contacting you, it will either email it to you or it will text it to you. I prefer the text so that I can get it immediately. Okay. So you can set the notification so that any changes that are made on Canvas or any updates, any announcements are made, you will be notified either through your email or through a text, so through your cell phone. Okay. Then another thing I would recommend is that whenever you email me, don't email me using Canvas, because Canvas has an inbox. I don't get announcements for those. Okay, so please email me through St. Kate's email rather than the Canvas inbox if you want a response right away. Okay, and better yet, if something urgent happens, like you're taking a quiz and all of a sudden you get kicked out or something, text me. I provide my text in the syllabus. Okay, so just text me if something urgent happens, because I know this is online, and you know it can cause high anxiety if you're not able to communicate with your instructor. Okay, so this is what the layout of the Canvas looks like. There's a welcome page, there's a home page, there's a syllabus page, announcement page, modules page, discussion, assignments, grades, and whoever is in your class. Okay, so that's what the intro page looks like. This right here is where it's important. Okay, it's a lot of stuff that you have to do for this class. I will be the first to admit it because I have to grade all of those, right? So it's really hard to keep things on track unless you have it in your calendar. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you have, you know, the cell phones where you can schedule things and it will alert you when things are due and such as that. I find that that's very helpful for students. Okay. All right, so in the home page, you will see the welcome page, you will see the getting started and the to do. So when you look at the to do, it lists all of the assignments that are due. Okay, and these are deadlines, not when you should start it, but when it has to be submitted. So for example, practice quiz 1 is, it's not 5 points, it's actually 0 points. But this is an old one, but it's due September 4th at 11:59 p.m. So that's not relevant anymore. I took a screenshot a long time ago. Okay, but essentially it will tell you when it's due and by what time. And this 11 p.m. is always Central Standard Time. Okay, so that list should be helpful for you in terms of what all you have to do and when it's due by. All right, the syllabus. What if I told you that information you seek is in the syllabus? A lot of the information that you usually students ask really is in the syllabus. We try to make it as detailed as possible. So if you email me a question and it's in the syllabus, please don't be offended if I tell you, please look at the syllabus. Okay. It's a good practice to kind of quickly think through and resolve problems that you can, you know, that you can obtain the answers for by just, you know, seeking out a little bit more. So a lot of information that you need is in the syllabus, and then just if you cannot find the answers there, feel more than free to email me, text me. Okay. Announcements. On the announcements page, there's the Thinking Storm link. That's an online tutoring that's available to you. The general course announcements, I don't use this as often because I do email students weekly, sometimes more than once, but usually I keep it to just weekly. Okay, and then before your exams, I will email a study guide to kind of help you, you know, go through what you need to know. Okay, questions?
Professor.
Yes.
Quick question. So I've taken numerous like anatomy courses in the past as far as my undergrad. My question is for some of the lab exams, I know in past experience they used illustrations from the textbook and also like cadaver illustrations, is that going to be similar with the lab exams for this class? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have, there's the lab materials is divided into two parts. One, the first part is to get you used to the lab structures. And with that, we're going to use pictures and images from your textbook. We also have images of models that, or it's either one models or actual slides of like the tissues that you need to study. So it's a combination of those two. But yeah, it's very similar to your previous experience where it's going to be on images of the models that we present, as well as the histology slides, cytology slides, and such. Okay.
Ms. Bruce?
Yes.
Ms. Bruce? Yeah.
Yes.
I have a serious problem because the textbook I was sent, the prints are really, really small for me. I know we talked about this and made suggestions. And when I'm supposed to read straight from the textbook, it doesn't really help me because when some assignments you say go to the textbook, and I can barely. Last night I spent the whole night trying to figure out. I have a small magnifier. It doesn't really help because I have to move it. It's almost like each word, and I'm not getting response from the help department that I'm supposed to have. I don't know what is going on. They are supposed to send me a PDF form of the textbook.
Yeah, definitely. So the primary resource that you want to use for this class is on Canvas. You can use your textbook. You'll definitely need your textbook.
You're fading.
Can you hear me now?
It's on Canvas.
Can you hear me now?
You're fading.
Am I still fading, or can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, you're in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. Is it working now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Great. Sorry about that. I'm at a new location, so I should have checked the Wi-Fi strength a little bit more before I do this. Okay. So the majority of the materials that you'll need will be on Canvas. So the lecture videos, the lecture script, and PowerPoint, they should be in PDF or Word format so that you can download them and expand it. So why don't you focus on that resource until the accommodations is able to, to make it easier for you to be able to see.
Yeah, I worry because the assignments are coming due. Yeah, so I don't want to be behind. Apparently, I will. Okay.
Yeah, I will tell everyone this though. If you focus on the materials on Canvas, that should get you through 100% of this class.
Okay.
Yep. So the textbook readings are more of like, do you need more? Do you need like more examples, and just more resources in general? Okay, but your primary resources, for the quizzes and exams, comes directly from the content that we put on Canvas.
Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
how many students are we in class?
I'm sorry, I was just going to ask, what's your name, 1972? I just see your phone number on there.
Oh, my name is Bridget.
Hi, Bridget.
My number one. Hi.
Hi. I was just going to offer, not to interrupt the class, but I can email you a link that I use for a PDF format of our text that we're using, if that was helpful. I can email you through Canvas if that's helpful to you.
Oh, yes, because I struggled with it last night. I couldn't
Will
do
do.
anything. I've got. I was thinking
you so
whether to
much.
drop the class. Well, yeah. I
So
appreciate
I
that.
will,
Thank you.
so who was offering the PDF version? I will email you Bridget's email.
That was me, Cheryl. So
Cheryl,
yes,
okay.
I can send that to her. Thank you so much, Professor Vu.
No, thank you, Cheryl.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much. Yeah.
and that's another
How
thing
many
of
students? Yeah.
everything that I will suggest to you.
How many are we in class?
How many students?
Yes, how many are we in class? Yes.
So in terms of students, there are, let's see, 20, about 40 students.
40 students you have in class?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, it's
So
not
that's
bad. I thought you had 50. Yeah.
Nope, just 40 students. So that's one thing that I would highly recommend is having study groups or just helping each other. Just because this is an online course doesn't mean we can't have a community of learners, okay? So anything I can do to help you facilitate the study group or study sessions, let me know.
Okay. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Cheryl. Mm-hmm.
So just to give you an example, the module for week 1 looks something like this. You have the practice quiz that's due today. You have module 1 and module 2. Then you have the assignment and then the quizzes. So it lays out the modules on Canvas lays out exactly what you need to do for that week. So it's pretty clear. But if anytime it's not clear, let me know, and then I can help wherever I can. Okay. So here's an example of what module 1 looks like. It will always give you the objectives followed by the lecture components, and that's where you'll find the outline as well as the PowerPoint, the script, and the videos. Okay, so Bridget, where it says right here, read Salden textbook pages 2 to 3, 11 to 17, 28, and 35. This right here is at the very end because that should be the last thing that you do. Okay, bullet point 1
Okay.
and 2 is all you need. Yep. Yep. So bullet point 1 and 2 is exactly what you need to answer all the questions on the quizzes and exams. We just have you read the textbook because if you want to know more or you want a deeper explanation, then the textbook is really helpful for that.
Okay, thank you. I won't worry about that. I won't worry about the textbook anymore.
Okay. You do need the textbook for the lab though.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully, oh yeah, Cheryl is going to send me something, so
yes,
that will help. Because
yes,
I can't handle the text, but I don't see it. Everything is blurred. Yeah.
Yep. So then for the lab component, you have the lab PDF. That one you'll want to download, print, whatever, and then you're going to fill it out. And then there's also a lab video that goes with that lab PDF. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So Maria also asked for the ebook as well. Okay. So I will send Cheryl the emails of Bridget and Maria. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. So then in terms of a weekly schedule, this is my recommendation. And again, it's just my recommendation. You can try it out. Each student studies differently, but this is just to help you kind of divide and conquer. So on Monday and Tuesday, that's when you'd want to print, download the video PDFs, the scripts for the week, watch the lecture videos, and then take notes on the PDFs. You want to start that early because this is not a class where it will click right away. It has content that you need to absorb, you need to think through. So the earlier you are exposed to this content to think through it throughout the week, the better you are. So that's why I highly recommend starting as early as possible, like Monday and Tuesday. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, rewrite your notes. So when I ask students what's the most successful thing for them that helped them in this class, and they all say hands down rewriting their notes. Okay, so I highly recommend you rewriting your notes. When you're rewriting your notes, make sure you edit it. For example, use the script to make sure that all the notes are there. Add images or like add mnemonics. So make the notes yours. Okay. Then complete the assignment and submit and post by Friday at 11 p.m. And then on Friday, review your notes. You can either make flashcards if those work for you, listen to videos again to see if it makes sense after listening it for a few times, do the worksheets, do the cognitive maps, and then Sunday, Saturday is when you take your quizzes. Questions?
Um, yeah, I have a question about activity 2, body regions. I couldn't find the meaning of, is it pedal? I mean, where is pedal located?
Pedal?
P-E-D-A-L, yes.
Has anyone had a chance to take a look at it yet? What does pedal mean?
Are
Have you ever?
talk-
I'm sorry, I interrupted
Professor,
somebody.
isn't pedal foot?
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
it's in pedal. That's in pedal foot. What
Yep.
what area of the foot?
It just means foot in general. It's just regions.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
If
So
pedal is foot, what's plantar?
plantar is the soles of your foot, the bottom of your foot specifically.
Okay, so plantar is the bottom of the feet and pedal is the top of the feet.
No, pedal just means the whole foot in general.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And a good way to remember that, like if you ever ride a bicycle, you have to put your feet on the pedal. So think foot,
Okay.
pedal. So those are some examples of what you can do to learn these terms, because again, it could be like a very foreign word if you haven't been exposed to them. So if you can connect it and relate to your everyday life experience, that helps you remember it significantly. Okay.
Professor Vu,
Yeah.
just a quick question. So I know you said to focus on the scripts, the outlines, and the PDF. I'm just wondering, I'm the kind of student that really relies on like reading the material. So I'm just trying to figure out, okay, like, do I do like a 50-50? Because I've always kind of, with past anatomy courses, I've always kind of read and did that 80% of the time and, focused on outlines, maybe less. Um, uh, is that strategy going to be okay? Or, because it's worked before, but I'm not sure if, I can kind of continue doing it.
Yeah. So I would never say not to read the textbook. Reading the textbook is like a really strong way to doing it. Is that sometimes students get overwhelmed by the reading portion of it, and some students learn better by listening to it, interacting with it in a different way. But if your learning style works with the reading of the textbook, you will still get every content that you will find on the exam and quizzes will be based on can be found in both. Does that make sense?
And also just a follow-up question. So I saw that the outline and the video are very similar. It's just one is more audio, one is more written. Am I correct in that way?
Sometimes. So the outline, for the first outline, it's very detailed, but you'll find that the other outlines, the subsequential outlines, are less, because the first one is to give an example of how for students on how to do the outlines. The rest are more like, it's less content in there, so then you have to fill it in. It's working through kind of how to do outlines. And the first one is an example, but the others will not be as full. Did that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
One last question from me. Sorry.
No, never. That's why I'm here. Never hesitate to ask questions.
What's the difference between cephalic and cranial?
Cephalic refers to the neck region that leads up to the head, where cranial is your skull. Does that make sense?
Neck region from neck up is the cephalic.
Cephalic means your head, so it's like from the neck region upwards to your head. Yep. Like for example, you have the brachiocephalic trunk. It's a blood vessel that will go to your arm and to your head. So cephalic means to the head, but oftentimes it refers to kind of starting from the neck to your head.
Okay.
Where cranial
really
is your skull.
Appreciate you. Yeah, thank you.
Other questions?
No, I'm done for now. Hi, classmates. Sorry, I'm holding you behind.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
hard class. You should always ask questions and use each other, use me. Yep.